Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's 15-year anniversary, and it's from one of the debut albums in metalcore. And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be looking into Killing with a Smile by Parkway Drive, the band's debut album released on September 12th, 2005 through Epitaph and Resist Records. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Parkway Drive, I'll give a brief little backstory. They're a metalcore band based out of Byron Bay, Australia, and these guys have been around since 2003. And I've been a fan of Parkway Drive for about 5 years or so. And their band name actually comes from like a street where the band would rehearse and stuff. And there's funny enough, there's actually is a Parkway Drive in like Smyrna in Georgia where I'm at. But I don't live in Smyrna, I live in Kennesaw. But anyway, it was around 2003 or so. They pretty much formed, and then before this album they put out like one little EP called "Don't Close Your Eyes," and they've done a lot of stuff local over in there. But then they got signed to Resist Records, which is like a record label in Australia, where the band is formed. And apparently somehow like one of their demos or EPs got in the hands of Adam D from Killswitch Engage, who actually produced this album, and the band actually went over to the US to record this album. And one thing to know about this album is compared to like different Parkway Drive albums, it's a pretty solid album. But yeah, it has like production wise, it's great. I feel like musician wise, you could definitely tell they're sort of found their sound, but you could definitely tell after this album they would just evolve and get better and better. Just vocally, Winston McCall's vocals just sound just brutal. He does like the brutal kind of like growls, and then he does like sort of like mid stuff that he's pretty much known for. The guitar work is tight from Jeff and Luke. Like Luke's guitar playing is pretty solid. Like his riffs just come up, that he comes up with great, and just the leads that Jeff does is fucking great. And just bass wise, this is actually the only album without the Jaya Pi O'Connor. They had Sean Cash, who played bass on this album, but after that he's been replaced by Pi, and ever since then they pretty much had the same lineup. And drumming wise, Ben Gordon is a pretty solid drummer. He definitely knows how to keep the beat. So without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now starting things off is Gimme AD, which has some really fast riffage, some great drumming, and some great vocals, and some really heavy breakdowns to pretty much a great way to start off the song. And it's pretty much what you can expect for them. And there's also a little bit of hints of like melodic death metal in the music, especially if there's like the guitar styles has a little bit of hints of like At the Gates and In Flames. You could definitely tell there's like a lot of the European bands in like or influences or metal influences you can hear in the metalcore. And I always consider, and I don't even know, Australia can do no wrong with like bands like Parkway Drive, Thyroid is Murder, versions, Crown. I always consider like Australia to be like the Sweden of the Pacific. And yeah, overall, Gimme AD, great way to start off this album. Next song is called Anastasis, is Xenophonatus, I probably butchered that, which has some chugging yet an innovative guitar riff and just some sheer brutality from Winston's vocals. And then there's some breakdowns. They're so crushing, and just the guitars and the vocals just work really well. And that pretty much and also like the melody is always like right in the forefront, where the vocals carry the aggression, the instruments also carry the melody, which is a trait that the band has pretty much maintained to this day. Next song on the album is called Pandora. And this is another great song. Just like I said, just full of heaviness and just sheer brutality. Makes you want to punch you right in the face. Then we move on to the next song, which is Romance is Dead. Now this is pretty much one of my favorite songs off the album, and this pretty much shows sort of like what the metalcore genre has to offer, and it just also has like Parkway Drive's unique sound and just ferocious like pissed off attitude. Moving on to Guns for Show, Nice for a Pro, which actually starts off with a little quote from Die Hard 2, and this song is just angry and just doesn't rely heavily on melody as like the other songs that we've heard so far, but it retains sort of like the integrity and just some great instrumentation and a breakdown, which kind of like changes the tempo a little bit, and then which kind of sounds a bit uninspired, but in a cool way, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, next song on the album is called Blackout, and this song opens with a simple guitar riff, and then the drums are introduced, and then followed by just a crash of the bass, and this is actually the little taste of the bass that we've heard so far. And I love how the melody sort of like segues into like almost like a melody, which has some impressive guitar work, especially from like the leads that Jeff played, and then the melody sort of like fades, especially during the verses, and was replaced with more of a quieter riff. And then it's pretty much a well-balanced song, but I feel like it's pretty much unusual than what we've heard so far. Moving on to Picture Perfect Pathetic, which it's kind of like a tongue twister song title. I bet you can't say that 5 times fast. This song sort of begins with a little drum fill, and then Winston sort of like growls, if looks could kill, you would be a fucking shotgun pressed against my head, so fucking cold. Ugh, so fucking brutal if you ask me. And has a little interesting like break in the song where the music is dropped except for a lead guitar, which plays like some little high notes, and it's pretty much clever, and it just moves at breakneck speed, and yeah, another good song. It's Hard to Speak Without a Tongue pretty much falls in the same line of like what we've heard so far, just heavy, and also has some melody as well. Mutiny. Now this song has a little bit of an excerpt from the movies Pirates of the Caribbean, which has like the same quote, kind of like what would be on the the song Dead Man's Chest off the next album, Horizons. And I feel like Mutiny is a great song. It sort of branches out musically and incorporated more of like a, I don't know, varied style of riffing thing in there. Then we go on to Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em, which is actually a re-recorded track from their debut EP called Don't Close Your Eyes. And I feel like I actually like this version better. It has better recording, and the musicianship on this song is a lot more tighter. And then the album closes with A Cold Day in Hell, which actually is a really good way to end this album, just end everything off just like that. Now overall, Killing with a Smile by Parkway Drive is a solid debut album from this band. It's sort of like a great start to their career. So if I give this on the score, I'm probably gonna give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. So yep, that's my review of the Killing with a Smile by Parkway Drive, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.